Okay, I realize the screen is dark and y'all can see nothing. I'm just too sick to get up and turn a light on. I am feeling absolutely horrible and disgusting in the middle of the night here. It's past midnight. I fell asleep for a little bit, might have been an hour or two. Woke up still feeling just as bad. I clearly have a fever that you can tell from just the way you feel when you shouldn't, but you feel cold, and it's a really specific kind of cold feeling when it's from a fever. It's very frustrating because I have so much poor health and so many issues I'm dealing with, and then I don't know what this is. I could just have a bug. There could be something that's just going around and I just got a hold of it, although I so far haven't heard of anything going around specifically right now. It is really remarkably similar to how gross I have felt from the butter a few times, except this time with fever, and I wouldn't think that butter thing would bring on the fever, and I'm sitting here feeling all crazy and wondering, does just having these other symptoms, is that possible that that can bring on a fever? I've heard people talking about the keto flu, which I tend to want to put in air quotes. I don't think I've ever experienced it, but keep in mind I've had many years of trying things to try healing. Super high fat diet and very, very low carb to basically no carb lots of different times over the last 15 years, and plus the carnivore for 3 years now. I've truly never had this keto flu thing that people talk about, and I don't know if it's possible that I could get it now after all this time of not getting it. And I mean, seriously, I've also done extended fasting quite a lot over the last 15 years. I've done extended dry fasting. I've been on numerous different versions of low carb, very low carb, almost no carbs at all, and no carbs at all. Never for just super short periods of time. I always go hardcore into a thing and try it and give it a really good shot, which sometimes means I'm doing them for months, and I just literally never get this keto flu thing. So I don't know if that's one of the possibilities that could be happening to me with this thing I've got going on. And since I paid so little attention to, and I'm having memory problems anyway, but I paid little attention to trying to get info into my memory. When people talk about the keto flu in videos on various channels, I don't even know, does that really include having a fever? So basically, just babbling to say I have no idea what's going on. I don't know why I feel this gross and why it's lasting this long. But here I am in the middle of the night, no light on, recording with just sound onto a dark screen. I just wanted to include it. Had a little bit of a not quite so great day today from my continuing efforts to eat high fat in the way that I've been talking about on the last couple of videos. It was mostly an okay day, but little bits of things were noticeable to me, and especially that my skin wasn't quite as good as it had been the day before. And this is now, let me think, what day is it that I'm recording this? Or what day was it before I was asleep for a couple hours versus what day will it be when I wake up in the morning? Shoot, I hardly know. I can't think days of the week, but I know June 3rd, that was when I was writing on my paperwork at work yesterday or before going to sleep tonight. And as bad as my memory is, I'm trying just cognitively to put together little bits of what happened and what kind of timeline. It's so hard to say, but I think I'd had a couple of days of only one stick of butter today and not a lot of extra fat over it. Although that's not exactly accurate. I always have some extra fat because just the way I eat is a very high fat way. It's just hard to say how much more on top of that when I can't measure every little thing. And I don't have any regrets about that. I'm definitely not a macros or measuring kind of person usually. Actually, weirdly enough, find that pretty darn triggering and hate doing that stuff. But anyway, I did eat closer to, I don't even know exactly how it added up tonight, in addition to the extra fats of my high fat diet. That between morning and night, I had at least, I think, a stick and a half of butter. I don't know if I got up to 2. Plus, like I said, all the other fat in the diet. And today that actually did include my triple cream brie again. Had a really wonky day with work as usual. Not as usual, but on the wonkier end of the spectrum towards wonky, just like it happened a few days ago. And I had just a very short amount of time to squeeze and get into a Publix parking lot, and running in and using their restroom and seeing if there was anything I could buy to eat something in the car on the way to my next student. And I did grab one of those little triangles for $4 of triple cream brie and eat that on the way. So that's pretty much all I had in the middle of the day. But I had a fair-sized breakfast with a lot of fat, and had actually a huge dinner tonight with a lot of fat with it. And I got in bed early. I don't know if it was 7 or 8, probably closer to 8 tonight, even though sometimes I get in bed a lot earlier than that. And I laid here feeling horrible and just kind of miserable, and then I did fall asleep. And then I've woken up again, and I don't know. All this can lead to is more rambling at this point, but I wanted to share some of it. Since I've never had this before, and I don't even know if it is an illness with a stomach bug or what it is. Please pray for me, and I will continue to hope for the best and pray for the world and all of y'all, beautiful human souls. I know there's so many people hurting and in need of healing and comfort, and I care about that. That is one of the top things that stays on my mind all the time, is wishing that people could find comfort and healing, wishing I could, wishing God would use me somehow to help other people. I'm a big picture thinker, and I think of a million huge ideas of things. I'm not such a great detail person, so I oftentimes feel like I get very little done compared to my intentions, which is, of course, frustrating and kind of impotent, but there it is. I care about y'all, and I have all of you and sort of usually pretty much the whole world in my prayers. Hope everyone else is feeling good tonight. I did notice there are a few people who see my videos, even though I was doing this to document it, and I thought later it might become useful. There's been a few views on Rumble and a few views on YouTube, and especially those of you who took the time to watch. I really care about you and hope for the best for you and whatever healing you're looking for yourself or a loved one. So I'm gonna get back to not having this thing on recording and try to figure out, between every time my arm is out from under these layers of blankets, I feel like I'm dying from the fever, and every time I pull it back under, I feel like I'm dying for being too hot. But hopefully by morning, Lord willing, hopefully things will be better by morning.